Hi, guys, and welcome to Global Film Pool. This week, Cannes has announced additional titles for the lineup for this year's film festival. And I've gone through the new titles and I've identified 3 films I feel could be in contention of their country's submission for the Academy Award for Best International Feature Film. If you're new here, this channel is dedicated to the best of world cinema and follows the race for the best international feature film from countries selecting their submission for the year to the country that eventually wins the Academy Award. As I've said in previous videos, I'm just speculating at the moment because I don't have much information on individual films other than the country that they actually come from and the director who may or may not have pedigree in international filmmaking. There are 3 factors to consider. I don't have information on the quality of the film until after the festival where we start getting reviews. I don't know the eligibility of film. There may be too much English or there may not be enough creative contribution from the individual country involved. I also don't know if the country will submit it. So, for example, there is an Iranian film called The Seed of the Sacred Fig, which is by a director who's been imprisoned many times by the Iranian regime. While it would normally be the frontrunner for Iran's submission, however, I feel with him not being seen as a legitimate film director from the Iranian regime eyes, I doubt they'll put it forward because it's likely to be critical of the regime itself. There's also a number of films from countries such as France and Japan that have been added to the Cannes lineup, and I'm not looking at them at the moment until we get a sense of who are the front runners at Cannes before deciding if there's any particular favourites for those countries. The first film I've identified is opening the Un Certain Regard competition, and it's Runar Rúnarson's When Light Breaks, which is an Icelandic film. The director has previously had films submitted on behalf of Iceland, such as Sparrows and Volcano, so he's got a bit of pedigree in Iceland's submission process. And the fact it's opening the Un Certain Regard category, competition even, it stands a very good chance of being Iceland's submission. It's a very small country of 300,000 people, so the fact they have 1 or 2 really decent titles coming out each year really shows they are punching above their weight. And Iceland, like last year, where they submitted Godland, probably, which was a bit of a surprise, but it just made eligibility. They could have submitted it potentially the year before as well. So we could see a different Icelandic title submitted for Iceland, but I think When the Light Breaks is really the front runner for Iceland's submission this year. The second country I wanted to look at is Romania, with the film 3 Kilometers to the End of the World by the director Emanuel Pavu. Now, Romania has a sort of love affair with the Cannes Film Festival in the 21st century. The Palme d'Or winning 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days was Romanian submission and controversially was not put forward as the nomination. And so the Academy changed the nomination process. So films like 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days could be in contention of the Academy Award. There's actually only been 1 nominated Romanian film for the Academy Award in the category, which was Collective, which was a really impactful documentary which premiered at Venice rather than Cannes. And the only other Romanian film to do anything in the Oscars is Beyond the Hills, which got to the shortlisting phase in 2012, which premiered in the main competition at Cannes. This director doesn't have much pedigree, or certainly not in non-Romanian film circles. So it'll be interesting to see if this main competition film will be Romania's submission and whether then it goes forward and tries to improve Romania's standing within the Academy Award category. Gintz Zibalotsit, and forgive the pronunciation, has, I believe, to be an animation film called Flow, which is playing in the Un Certain Regard category at Cannes. Now, I don't know much about the director, and Latvia don't have a huge pedigree in the Oscars. It's never had a nominated film as an independent country, and it's not even had a shortlisted film. There's not a huge amount of cinema that leaves Latvia's borders. So I would not be surprised if this is Latvia's entry. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about the director, and I don't know the quality. So I can't tell you whether it will be successful in the Oscars, but it's likely to be put forward as Latvia's submission. As I've said before, this is all speculation, so I could be completely wrong. There could be other films coming from these three countries, but just based upon the sort of level of output that comes out every year, the role Cannes has in dictating about which are likely to be successful submissions, it would not surprise me if these ended up as being these country submissions. So continue following this channel and see whether they are successful in the Academy Awards as their nationalities submissions for category.